before we get started today, I just wanted to just remind everybody that fortunately or unfortunately, these sessions, we can't really make these private sessions. So most of the conversation and the questions that you do send, I have to kind of, in some cases, I'll say exactly what I'm getting for a specific person, but in most cases, only because it's right there. But in most cases, what we'll do is we'll kind of give an overview as to what that question entails so that you get that kind of information back. So, all right. So let's start in the heart first. Yeah. All right. So let's first pay attention just to the body. Just where are you in relationship to the body? Or what part of your body is drawing your attention? That might be the heart. That might be another part that is feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, just pay attention to whatever is drawing your attention. And let's breathe directly into that space. So just nice deep inhale directly into that space. You're just acknowledging that it's trying to get your attention, and you're giving it a bit of life force energy through your breath. And so we're going to use that position as our central point today, whatever that is for you. So nice deep inhale into that placement. And then an exhale out 360 degrees out and around you. There we go. Yeah, different people in different places today. So again, a nice deep inhale. Right into that spot. And when you exhale, it's almost like you're expanding that whole energy, whatever's restricted, constricted. You're just expanding it on that exhale, breathing it out 360 degrees. And then one more time, deep, deep, deep into that spot. Yeah. And then exhaling it out 360 degrees. Removing lots and lots of energy just out of the field. It's very easy for energy to become stagnant within our energy fields right now. And especially as we have particular issues, topics, focuses of attention that those places can very easily kind of get stuck, and they'll get stuck in our bodies. Yeah. And so we're just choosing to move it because we can. And the breath is the easiest way to do that. Okay, so one deep inhale into that spot. And then exhale it out 360 degrees. There we go. There we go. All right. So when you're ready, we can open our eyes. And I have at least one thing that I want to bring up for all of you today, but I think we'll take questions first, and then I can bring that up in between. Sharon, do you have something for me?
I do. So first question is, I'm having a hard time setting intentions for this year around what I want to create and bring into my life. What do you have? Do you have any tips for getting clear?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is we are moving out of a time that is a me, and we're moving into we, right? So any intentions that you might set for yourself, oh, something in my eye, any intentions that you might set for yourself, let's consider those to be the intentions of we, right? So if you were going to set an intention, let's have it be for the totality, for the whole, instead of maybe a more personal intention. And if you're going to have a more personal intention, maybe set it so that you are um, the expression that benefits the we, yeah, benefits the all. Yeah, that has there's two ramifications to doing it that way. One, your whole inner community, the we that you actually are, the totality of you, says, wow, she's not just considering whatever it is she wants, whoever that she is within the community, she's considering the whole community, right? And we have a tendency to move more fluidly when we're considering the whole of our community. Sometimes that also requires that our goals for any given year or space are not as specific. Yeah, maybe a little bit more general in nature. And then the details of it will fill in as you go along. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful.
Okay. Next question is, I sense a go stop energy these days. Is that the nature of the times or me just procrastinating?
No, it's I will say that I'm also hoping for myself that that's the nature of the energy right now. And when I check in with it energetically, that's it. I mean, there's a little bit of a push pull between the old reality and the reality of duality and what we're moving into, which is a much more fluid field of oneness. And so, um, one of the things that we can ask ourselves also is when we're in that feeling of push pull, let's just give ourselves the opportunity to step into the fluidness, to the flow, just step into the oneness, of it all. A lot of times we'll beat ourselves up or get caught in the, oh, I'm not doing anything or I'm not getting anything finished. So if we just place ourselves back in the energy of oneness, back in the energy of flow, then our contribution within that source or within that oneness will naturally start moving again. So, yeah.
Okay, this one says, I suffer for a while with ovarian cysts and fibroids. What, if any, is this emotional or spiritual underpinning?
Um, it it could be both. I mean, in my world anyway, everything it's energy first, right? And so, and also when even though it's energy first, it's really good to have these things kind of checked out on a physical level, because sometimes just a little bit of a physical shift can help to shift the emotional spiritual piece too. So it's not just having to shift it from the emotional spiritual. So let me see, I'm just going to see if there's anything else I can get in this forum anyway about that. um, so I would look or contemplate things around um, the nurturance. Let me see how I'm hearing this, around the nurturance of your own development, right? It's like how um, how kind can you be as you develop and nurture yourself from one reality to the next. Yeah, I would pay attention to those kinds of topics. It has to do with, in a little in some ways it has to do with being reborn, but it has to do with how you actually move through that process. Yeah. So I would kind of dig in those areas.
Okay, this question is, what does it mean that energy becomes stagnant? And why do energies get stuck anyway? Is it to teach us that we have the capacity to move it?
Yeah, I like, yeah, I think that that's exactly it. And so, everything is energy in motion, right? Everything is always moving and changing and fluctuating. And when we really understand that, I mean, we can apply that to all kinds of amazing things. But but sometimes we get caught in why something isn't the way we think it should be, and the moment we get stuck there, that energy kind of coagulates and sticks. Also, the moment that we just choose to start moving it again, in whatever way we choose to move it, it starts moving. I mean, we literally are that powerful. So so sometimes we'll just pay an awful lot of attention to why it's stuck, or making up some kind of story about ourselves that suggests that we're less than because it's stuck. And that has a tendency to perpetuate that kind of feeling. So when it feels stuck somewhere, go to that space, feel into that space, and just ask it, what does it need to start moving again? What does it need to start? Because if there's emotion or something connected to that energy, as you start moving that energy, that emotion will start moving too. So don't be surprised if you go into a stuck place, let's say a stagnant place, and usually we can feel those in our bodies. But if you go into that place and you say, okay, what's required here to start moving it? And sometimes, you'll just get the idea to start flushing it out, maybe moving it with your own um, direction or color, or maybe you're asked to physically move it. A lot of times, if tears come up right after that, or anger comes out right after that, don't assume that you're doing it quote unquote wrong. Assume that you're actually moving that energy and let it just flow through. I think the other reason why a lot of energy becomes stagnant is because we've been conditioned to like certain feelings and not like other ones. And we want to just give ourselves permission to feel it all, to be present to it all. So, yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Okay, this question is, I seem to be vulnerable to the usual places of stuck energy, the angel wings and upper and lower back. Why are these typical places to feel the pain of stuck energy?
Well, one, shouldering the world's challenges, and obviously you're referring to that space as those angelic wings. So you're already telling yourself something about your energy and about your presence here. So, um, again, can we move in joy in the world? Can we be in joy of what we actually are, the presence that we actually are? So the other uh, the other piece of this too is in the back of the heart space, right about center to where those angel wings would be, let's say. We've all had a lot of um, human experience, right? And that human experience has a tendency to have us watching our backs. Like literally, that question, does anybody have your back? Are you the only one that needs um, to do what you're here to do? Are you the only one that supports your ability to do or make the contribution that you're here to make? So if that's true, then there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and it has a tendency to close down that back of that heart space. So can we give ourselves permission, one, to not have to do it all by ourselves, and two, to really understand that the human part of us um, needs encouragement, needs support. We need the angelic presence of us, um, can have our back, right? Can have the human part of us have the back of the human part of us, and then we start merging these two worlds um, in pretty beautiful ways. So, yeah.
We're waiting for people to submit more questions.
Okay, great, great. All right. So while you guys are on round 2 of questions, one of the things that I really want to just put out there and just suggest, and it kind of came about as a suggestion for myself lately, and I was noticing how beneficial it's really been. So we talk about neutrality quite a bit, and allowing everything to be a part of the whole, right? So we know within the aspects of our own being, within our own totality, we have aspects that feel strong and vibrant and alive. We have other aspects that feel vulnerable and scared and panicked, and everything in between. So, so first, can we just allow all of those parts to be part of that totality? Can we understand that when we allow all of those parts to be part of a totality, then we can meet each of those aspects, each of those experiences with greater neutrality, right? It's like, oh, okay, today I'm scared out of my mind. Okay, today I feel really vibrant and alive and ready to go. Wow, today I know my divine self, and tomorrow I don't even know if I am a self. What does that actually mean? What's that about? So if we can just allow what's arising to arise and be present to it for the sake of being present to it, just in neutrality, right? It sets up an opportunity that is so vast, so big, so that we can begin to see anything that shows up in front of us as part of the whole. So even if we perceive this person or that person to be playing the role of the good guy or the bad guy, or, whatever yeah, I mean, and there can be some pretty dark identities out there in the world right now. That's whether they're literally standing in front of us or we're seeing them somewhere in the media or alternative or whatever. But if we can begin to understand that every single aspect of ourselves is part of our totality, we begin to see that every single part of reality out there is also part of the totality. And when we can hold that in neutral, let me tell you what, things start changing and shifting just exponentially. Yep. It's not a mental holding it in neutral. It's more of a almost like watching that energetic expression collapse or dissipate or neutralize. Yeah. So if something's in front of me, I'm presented with something that is just devastating, right? Child trafficking, would be high on my list anyway. And so I can go into all of the thoughts about why that's happening, or I can go into all of that, or I can literally put that whole thing in front of me, see how it feels within me, and then neutralize it, and then let it crumble, let it dissipate, let it neutralize, let it collapse, right? Because the moment I've done that, I'm no longer giving my energy to that expression. I'm no longer holding that as part of something that has to be. It's been collapsed into the totality, been collapsed into, it's almost like it, did it get it? Hold on a second. As it goes back into neutrality, it has a greater potential and possibility to emerge again within the totality as something new. Whereas if I just look at it and claim it as wrong or bad, not part of the whole, something that needs to be right, then I've held it in a particular position. And we're powerful. So we hold something in a particular position, and it doesn't have an opportunity to change within the totality of the whole. So.
I have noticed that my practice of Ho'oponopono has changed, where I've shifted to directing it to a person who had been hurt to now where I simultaneously direct it to both the one who inflicted the hurt and the and who had been hurt. Wondering if this is a natural evolution from the shift into oneness, and wondering if there is a next stage of evolution even beyond this.
I'm so glad that you're saying this. I mean, and I really do invite all of us to, to offer that love, compassion, that neutrality to, let's say, what we're perceiving as both sides of the fence. Yep, because both sides of the fence make up the totality. So yeah, I love that. Giving it to both. And yes, it is a movement from duality into oneness. And I don't know that it's necessary to ask or answer the question about what's next in that evolutionary phase for you, because just like you figured out from duality to oneness, you're also naturally and organically, as you, let's say, perpetuate or add to the energy that you've just spoken about, neutrality, no matter what the experience is, you offer the same prayer, you offer the same intention, the same grace to that energy. The more you do that, the more you naturally start to evolve and remember that which you actually are. Yeah. And that will tell you everything you need to know. You don't need anybody else to tell you what's next at that point. Yeah. So.
All right, this is a comment too. So helpful for our troubled relationships too, so I don't have to debrief all the hot spots.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And again, part of the reason why we have those hot spots is because those hot spots have been held in a particular energetic field, right? We've claimed that person as wrong or that person as bad, or we've claimed ourselves as wrong or bad in relationship to that person. And then we hold a particular field of energy. Well, if we don't hold anything as wrong or bad, if we're not polarizing it, we again open that field back up to what's possible. And in that way, if that relationship is still beneficial for us, for them, then it usually has a tendency to morph into something new. And if it's no longer supportive or beneficial, then it has a tendency to morph into something new, whether together or apart. We allow ourselves even that degree of neutrality. Yeah.
Okay, this one is, I feel that I'm in a pause in the reconfiguring of all my interpersonal social structures, and that this is also a collective phenomenon on the, let's see, on a vast scale and or cosmic. Can you address what your sense is of the collective level of this shift?
Um, I want to address this just a little bit differently than the way you're asking it. So, and then we can flush it out a little bit more. So the very first thing I heard when that question came through was was how important your our individual or perceived individual realities are in relationship to the collective. So when we consider where the collective is the collective, how awake are they? How aware are they? How's that transformation going? We have a tendency again to put our energy external instead of being really aware that what you are shifting and changing and altering within yourself, the way in which you are nurturing, loving, caring, having compassion for yourself as you, as a perceived individual, move from move through your own evolutionary stages, that tells you more about how the collective is moving than anything else. You are the collective is you. And so this is where it becomes so empowering and so important for us to really pay attention to our own movement in this, our own trajectory, um, because you know exactly what the potential is for the collective when you know what your own potential is. Yeah, when you know how you're moving, you know how the collective is moving, because again, it's no longer me, it's we. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
All right, this one is just wondering what aging really is on an energetic level. Is it a breakdown of the body from stuck energy? Would aging stop or take a very long time if we would allow all energies to flow?
Yeah, I think there's so many layers and levels to this. So I think that whole aging process also has a lot to do with how we are, um, just how we're conditioned. If you lived, for instance, in a society where everybody aged with ease and grace and beauty, you would too. You would too. It would naturally be imprinted to you to do just that. I don't know if you guys, there's a woman named Oracle Girl that's I listen to every now and again, and um, she has she has a meditation or a purity track is what she calls them around aging. And she says at the beginning of that, which I really love, she says, your body is a phase conjugate mirror. So what that means is your body is in both ways. Your body is a reflection of uh, the belief systems that you have taken on from the collective, and your body also is a reflection of the energetics of you, all the different elements and aspects of the energetics of you. And so when we understand that this body is just a mirrored reflection out in the world, and we choose to pay attention to other things, or we choose to as we choose to really deeply understand that this physical form is malleable. It's not it's not as solid as you might think. Yeah. And when we really begin to consider that, and we begin to restructure things because we choose to, you can um, you can break down that aging process. You can, again, it's where do you want to place your energy? Where do you want to place your attention point? If that's something that's important as part of your totality, then put your attention point there, because we all know how inspiring it is for somebody to kind of defy those kinds of laws, or defy that kind of yeah. So I hope that's helpful.
Okay. I have autism and have had a really hard time learning my place in this world and understanding other people and their emotions. Now I am in sales and have been for 3 years. I am doing all right and have improved my skills, my talking and social skills a lot, but I still have situations where I don't understand people and I don't know how to communicate in a good way. How do I feel more at home in this world and understand communication better?
Yeah, great. So there's a lot of different levels of communication, which you, of all people, probably really know very well. So, and most human beings are caught up in verbal communication for their information. My take for you would be to feel into the experience. Um, and when you said earlier that, you have a challenging time with emotion, or that kind of emotional energy, it may be because you're so tuned into it. So you don't have to go headlong into somebody's energy field in order to pick this up, but you could drop your energetic awareness, just go right into that heart space that you have, that's so big and so beautiful. And as you're in that heart space, just just literally, just asking yourself, what does this moment call for? What is this moment about? And then just let the words come out. Sometimes when we're really concerned that the wrong thing might come out, or that we won't get it quite right, we have a tendency to stay up in the head part. If we just drop right back down into the heart, and kind of like, just let's make a connection there, I have a feeling you're going to know just the right thing to say in that moment. And I think you might surprise yourself. You'll definitely surprise the person that you're quote unquote selling to, because a lot of salespeople are here trying to figure out the dynamic. If you drop to the heart, um, they're already sold, so to speak. Yeah, you've already made a connection that they're not used to making in that kind of atmosphere. And I will tell you, if I didn't spend the vast majority of my time, even during these conversations, in my heart, not in my head, I would be second guessing just about everything that I'm saying to you all in any given moment. So that's why the eyes go closed quite a bit. The heart gets accessed, and then that information just flows, and you have the same capacity to do that. So yeah, I hope that's helpful.
That is all of our questions.
All right, wonderful. Okay, let me see if there's anything else that yeah, that just wants to be shared today. Yeah, so we are absolutely, in this birth process. And again, it's just like any other birth, it's kind of ready or not, here we come. It's like we're not getting to mentally decide the time and the date and all that stuff of this birth or this rebirth that's going on. And we are slipping away from, at a more and more rapid pace all the time, we're slipping away from these polarities, this duality. And so as we're moving, let's say, down that birth canal, and we're being birthed, we were birthed first into duality. We're being birthed now into unity or into oneness. Again, giving ourselves the same compassion, the same, I'm gonna put quotes around time. We're gonna give ourselves time, right? We wouldn't expect a newborn to come out and run. We wouldn't expect a newborn to come out and talk. We expect that a newborn is gonna come into this world and they're gonna sleep a lot at first. They're gonna be they're gonna be sensing into their new environment. Yep. Some things are gonna feel good within that environment for no other reason than, it's new and exciting, and other things are gonna feel a little off-putting in that environment. Yep. Again, just because they're new and different, right? So again, if we really think about this in a very literal sense, we're babies, just being birthed into a brand new world. And so all this sleeping and all this sensing into things and taking little steps and then maybe falling back down and then taking little steps again, some of us, maybe just, learning to crawl, just literally to feeling grounded, feeling our connection to the planet. It's like, where exactly are we finding ourselves? We want to give ourselves permission to get acclimated to this. Yeah, because we know within that first year of life, that first year of birth, rebirth, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of learning that happens in that first year. I mean, we literally do go from sleeping 24 hours a day practically and just nurturing ourselves, eating, being cuddled, being held, right? To full blown, walking. That happens just within a very short period of time. But we want to give ourselves permission to be in each one of those phases. Because if we're fully nurtured in that phase, then the next phase is that much easier. We have that much more confidence, let's say, in where we find ourselves and how we'll be navigating our new environment. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, allow ourselves. It's like, and we know I'm like this all the time. It's like, come on, can't we get up, run? We got things to do, places to go. And I'm like, no, honey, sorry, you're still in the, standing up and barely holding up and then dropping back down again in this beautiful new energy. So let's give ourselves, yeah, permission to be in whatever place we're in. And so, all right, I hope that's good. So, yeah, all right. Lots of love, everybody. Have a beautiful week or two, and I will see you next time. Bye.